1, 2, 3, 4.
Hi, I'm Mark Nardi, Business Support Analyst for the City of Kingston, and I'm going to tell you more about the city's Business Support Office.
I'd like to recognize Kingston is on the traditional homeland and territory of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and the Huron-Wendat, and thank you to these nations for their care and stewardship. A little about me, I'm originally from the BC Lower Mainland, and my ancestry is Irish-English.
Hello, my name is Rob Hosier, and I'm your host of Tell Me More, the City of Kingston podcast. Joining us today is Mark Nardi, who you've heard off the top, and our award-worthy production team, Paul Whittingham and Heather Brown. Now, operating a business of any size is a unique challenge. From a seed of an idea to a profitable enterprise, the route to success is never a straight line. Add in a pandemic, massive shifts in global supply chain issues, and you've just turned up the difficulty on an already challenging proposition. Navigating this ever-shifting reality of business ownership can be a definite challenge. As a community and our local businesses work towards rebuilding economic security, this is a prime time to talk about how municipal government can facilitate that recovery and support long-term business success. Enter the City of Kingston Business Support Office. This Business Support Office does many things. It's a service for current and prospective business owners looking to navigate their needs when doing business with the city. Whether you've got a business dream or you just want to make it a reality or are looking to expand on your 8th location, the Business Support Office is here to help. Want to put a sign on a heritage building? The Business Support Office can help. Spent the weekend kicking around a new business idea with a friend, and now you're wondering what the next steps might be? The Business Support Office can help. Own a piece of land and think, hey, I could turn this into something that might need some guidance on planning, zoning, maybe some licensing issues? Well, I think you can guess. That's right. The Business Support Office can help with that. Wondering how to access other community support programs and resources? The Business Support Office can connect you with the right business supports through referrals to the best connections to simplify your path. Today I'm chatting with business analyst Mark Nardi, a man with a passion for policy communication whose role is to help us guide business operators to the municipal answers they need to keep their business moving. He's here to tell me more about the Business Support Office. Welcome, Mark. Great to have you in the Councillor's Lounge here today in our rudimentary studio. I want to start by acknowledging that this isn't the first time you and I have crossed paths at the City of Kingston. In fact, I think we've been colleagues since day one. We got hired together in the city's communication and public engagement division, not necessarily as a package, but independently, but at the same time. I know you're a good lover of pizza. In fact, my family lives by the Nardi Pizza Index, or the NPI as we call it, and you have an amazing passion for public policy. What people might not know as well is that he's an amazing dungeon master. For those that understand that, that's Dungeons and Dragons, and he controls the narrative of the game. But here we're going to talk about a much more serious topic. But thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Sorry, I thought we were talking about pizza.
Your mind drifted for a couple of minutes there.
I was brought here under false pretenses, but happy to talk about business support. It's great to be here.
Fantastic. And I won't refer to you in any way, shape, or form as Nardi Party, which is an affectionate term, but it's maybe a little less professional in this environment. So I'm going to stick to business from this point going forward.
I appreciate that. It's, yes, Mark Nardi, business analyst, super serious all the time.
If you wouldn't mind, though, for the benefits of our listeners, walk us through how you landed at the City of Kingston and what led you to your current role, not necessarily communications, obviously that was your previous role, but as a business support analyst.
Yeah, it's a great question. So, as you mentioned, I think we started about 4 years ago in the same department. We were pretty much hired in like the same week, I want to say. But yeah, I spent about 3.5 years working in corporate communications all throughout the pandemic. And then this opportunity came up to support some of the really cool stuff happening in our Department of Strategy, Innovation, and Partnerships. And this is a really neat opportunity. The Business Support Office was launched in 2021, and they were looking to grow it out to introduce a new role to support some local businesses. And so, I thought I'd try something new. And I was really fortunate. Our department was awesome insofar as they're great with exposing staff to all sorts of different roles and experiences.
Absolutely.
I've always been a huge fan of policy processes, and it was a great chance to try that.
So we've glossed over a little bit of the origin story of Mark, the city employee, and a little bit about how the Business Support Office originated. But can you go into a little bit more detail about how and why this office came into existence?
Yeah, sure. So the office launched in 2021, and during that point in time, they did a kind of a public engagement to get some more information on the current business environment at the city, get some information on services and and supports that business owners were accessing and how they felt about it. And then I joined the office in July of 2022, and throughout that process, we've been scaling up our external supports. We launched externally in September 28th of this year, and so now we're officially open for business, as it were, and connecting with all sorts of local businesses. The Business Support Office is something that's been done in various forms in different places, but this is a first for the City of Kingston in the way it's structured. And the whole idea is that we're here as a primary point of contact. We're the go-to person for any municipal business supports and services, whether you're a current or prospective business owner, whether you're looking to kick an idea around or whether you're looking to scale up your business. That's what we're here to help with.
Okay, I got that. So we've touched on what the Business Support Office does in general, but I want to understand the specifics a little bit better. Maybe some examples would help. I'm kind of an example person. Going back to our intro, I threw out a couple of examples when the Business Support Office could, well, provide some support. So, first example, I'll give you a softball one to begin with. Let's say I'm operating a business in a heritage building, and I want to put a sign on to boost foot traffic, get a little marketing out there. How can you help with that?
That's a great example, and it's good because it highlights kind of the main value that we bring here, which is that we help businesses and business owners understand and navigate the city processes. So, some businesses may regularly engage with processes like, heritage planning or building, but oftentimes for business owner, this could be the first or only time, or at least one of, a few times where they're engaging with the service. So where the Business Support Office comes in is we can substitute our experience with these kinds of things and really help smooth the process out, make it a lot easier to understand. So in this particular case, if you were looking to put a sign on a heritage building, right, we can definitely help with that because we'd essentially be able to identify some key considerations right out of the gate. Oftentimes, someone may obtain a property and not even know it's a heritage property. And so that's the first thing right there is we can tell you if it's, Part 4 designated, which is, I guess, heritage speak for a certain type of designation for a property that may require permits for certain things. I can provide you background information on what may be required, assuming you need to put a sign on a heritage building. Okay. And I can help you identify the information you're going to need. A lot of this would be, for example, estimated timeline. So if you're looking to get up and running in 6 months, I can help you kind of forecast roughly what the turnaround is. And then after that, once we determine what's needed from the business, I'll connect them directly to the right department. And there are a few things there that's really important. We want to have like an overarching view of all business operations, but we work really closely with internal city departments. So, we've got contacts at Heritage Planning in this case that we'd be able to plug this business owner into to get the right information and get them right into the process. So business owner's not going to need to ask around, go between multiple departments, try and figure out what's going on. I mean, it's the City of Kingston is a huge organization, right? This gets them right where they need to be with the information they need to get the ball rolling, and then the heritage planners can just step in and start them on the process of actually getting a permit if necessary, or advising them on the key considerations, what have you, right?
Right.
So the big thing is continuity of care. I'm the single point of contact, and if they have a follow-up question at any point in time, they can just reach out to me. And again, they might now have a question about a building permit after that, right?
Yeah.
Business cases evolve, right? As soon as someone reaches out to us with one thing, there may be follow-up things. It's never just an open the ticket, close the ticket after thing. It's an evolving relationship. And now the hope with the Business Support Office is that there's one person, who can be that point of contact, right? That can develop that relationship.
That's amazing. And the support navigating some of our internal structure and to find their key people to talk to when they need to talk to them, that's absolutely huge. But what about the business development angle? So hypothetically, I'm up late kicking around some ideas with a friend around a campfire. We hit that point in the evening when we're coming up with business ideas. For some reason, we think we've hit gold. But the next morning, I decide to follow up on our inspiration, but really I'm kind of unsure what to do next. So I give the Business Support Office a call. Are you really able to help with business development at that stage, that preliminary stage?
Yeah, well, we're always happy to have a call from a business owner, current or prospective, even if you just think you have a small idea. Again, the big thing behind, city processes is that we want to identify some considerations early on in the process. So zoning often can come up as a major concern, right? If your property isn't zoned for your current business or your business plan, you don't want to really start developing anything else until you've confirmed your status. And, once you've got those things done, you can start moving forward with that. Again, right, if you're in touch with us, it's not just a yes-no answer. It's a, yes and. Let's see how we can make this work, right? Okay. We don't coach or advise businesses here in the Business Support Office, but we do facilitate. So we're going to ask you questions that can kind of identify those key considerations. And once we figure out the information that's helpful early on in the process, we can get you connected. The other really big thing, and that's emphasized by business development, is this kind of, we're calling it like a holistic approach to business support. So there are services we may not provide. Business coaching is a great example. But what we do is work very closely with community organizations and partners to make sure that that service is connected to the business owner. So if a business owner reaches out to us, they've got an idea, they have a property, they want to see how they can make it work, we can then say, yeah, it looks good from this perspective. Based on the questions you have, we've conferred with planners. Now, after this, though, it sounds like you have business development or business coaching questions, and we can actually get you connected to, ECDev Kingston, Economic Development, and they will provide that specialized help, right? So we're working with our partners to make sure that, if we can't provide you that service, we're going to get you connected directly to the person at the organization. You're not calling these 1-800 numbers or sending emails all over the place to, it's just a simple referral straight to the one person who can help you get that at that organization. So
that's amazing. And there's obviously some vetting there too, that you're getting sent to the right people versus maybe doing a blank Google search or something like that, where you might not have the regionally accurate information or something along those lines.
Yeah, so we work with all of our community partners to make sure that we're getting everyone the information they need. The major value here is that I'm connected to, counterparts of these organizations. We're regularly in touch with each other, and we're making sure, if I don't have that information, that, someone else at this organization can get that information to you. So at no point in time are we just leaving a business owner with partial information and just saying, okay, yeah, here's the answer to your question, good luck, right? There's that continuity of care, which is, again, a huge part of what we do.
That's incredible. And so finally, let's say I have a business idea, I have a plan, and don't need coaching. I even have the land, and I'm not sure what I need to go from a parcel of land to business. Could the Business Support Office help with that? And if so, how?
Yeah, of course. And I kind of touched on it earlier, but if you just have an idea, maybe you just have some property and you want to figure it out, again, contacting us is a great call because of, all those key considerations, right? I've referred to zoning specifically as an example, but, it really does start with those really basic pieces. So, once you've confirmed the zoning, you can figure out, well, I want to build this structure. What's going to be required from a business permit standpoint? And again, we have these specialist departments that are all very, very good at what they do, and the whole point, though, is I can facilitate. I can ask those questions. And when I'm doing that, I can kind of put together a picture of what exactly you're trying to get done here, and then I can recommend a course of action. And once we've got that course of action, I can help guide you through the process. So it's basically about making sure what you need to get done first to prevent you from kind of getting into a situation where you're just asking questions for a while, right? It's really getting you that information you need right at the outset so you know what you're in store for. And in doing that, we can make the process, really smooth, manage expectations so you know exactly what's happening. And then while that's going on, we can also identify those opportunities that we mentioned before where, do you have a business plan? Because this may be something that could be of interest to you. And if it is, if you're interested in pursuing a business plan, we can connect you with Kingston Economic Development for that, right? So it's those collaborative opportunities, they spring up throughout the process, and it is a process, right? It's not just one round of questions and we're off. So that's a great example.
I like that perspective of starting to identify some of those pitfalls early, like zoning and heritage. Those are major, if you're setting up a business and you're getting very far into it and you have to take 10 steps back because of a zoning issue or things like that, to get those clarified at the beginning has to be a huge benefit.
Yeah, and I mean, you can see how they would be perceived that way. The fact of the matter is that these are processes, they're, really specific in the steps and requirements. But again, you could be looking to set up a small bakery or something like that, and you have to put a sign, but it's a heritage building. Well, right. You're not trained in this kind of thing. You don't have the full background. So again, we're able to connect you with our heritage planners. You don't need to know exactly what needs to be done right at the outset immediately. We're able to figure out the details, and then we're able to start filling in those gaps for you, right? So they seem a little less like pitfalls, and they're kind of like key considerations that you just have to bear in mind, right?
So I've thrown a lot of hypotheticals at you today, Mark, but as we've been chatting, one more hypothetical came to mind that wasn't necessarily in the intro. What if I'm operating a business from outside of Kingston, but I've recognized what a great opportunity it would be to expand here? Can the Business Support Office help with that?
Absolutely. I mean, same first sentence with all the responses, but we're happy to have a conversation. I'm happy to talk to you. Essentially, the work we're doing in the Business Support Office is informed by the Integrated Economic Development Strategy, which is a kind of community strategy done in partnership with Kingston Economic Development. The intent here is to identify ways to strengthen Kingston's local economy. The Business Support Office does have a part to play in that by working with these external businesses and, again, helping to identify some of the key considerations early in the process. We're already finding that having a dedicated staff member offers an edge if someone is thinking of setting up shop in Kingston. It could be simply that you're in another city and you're considering a couple different places to set up a company, and you just want to check out what's going on, see what the various offerings are. Well, again, instead of asking individual departments, trying to put your own case together, you meet with the Business Support Office, you kind of lay it all on the table. We can piece together exactly what you need to be looking at in what order. And then we can kind of say, okay, so based on this, would you like us to get you connected with this department to start talking about, designated parking spaces, or would you like us to get you connected with our planners to talk about, zoning for this property, right? And, we're already seeing that helps to kind of convince these, outside business owners that, Kingston is, a great place to consider working or running a business, I should say. And, again, bringing in that collaborative opportunity, we work closely with community partners as well. Right. So, again, we can connect with, Kingston Economic Development or what have you, whatever organizations there may be, to make sure that everyone is helping along in the process where they need to be doing that, right? So,
the Business Support Office, another reason to start or expand your business in Kingston.
Exactly.
That wasn't a paid promotion, but why aren't you not starting your business here? But at the start of this season, we featured a colleague of yours, Tracy Snow, who talked about the Rural Kingston strategy. Does the Business Support Office connect with that work? Is it related at all? Is there crossover?
So the work that we're undertaking in the Business Support Office is connected to a whole bunch of different work that's ongoing at the City of Kingston as well. So obviously there's the Integrated Economic Development Strategy, but on top of that there's the Rural Kingston Economic Strategy, which is the roadmap for supporting Kingston's rural communities, the Workforce Development and In-Migration Strategy, which is here to kind of support and strengthen Kingston's workforce, and there's the Creative Industry Strategy. And all of the work that we're undertaking in the Business Support Office is obviously tied to Council's priority to support and strengthen economic development opportunities. So the Business Support Office is here to provide support to any business, rural or urban. So the Rural Kingston Economic Strategy sets a roadmap for supporting Kingston's rural communities, and the Business Support Office is a major part of that, right? So in all these rural areas of Kingston, there are still business owners and operators, right? Mm-hmm. And they're crucial to Kingston's local economy. They offer so much to the community. And, whether you're running a marketing agency out of your house or you're looking to set up a small engine repair shop, we're here to help you, right? I do work closely with Tracy in the office, and, there's also the agricultural piece, right? And we can help connect people with the Rural Kingston Economic Strategy from an agricultural development standpoint. That's kind of an area that Tracy supports actively as well. So again, to take it back, it's all about filling in those gaps and making sure that everyone is connected about all of the available business supports, right?
So really when it comes down to it, you're providing a amazing business concierge service. I got to ask, how much you charge for that?
It's a completely free service to...
You're kidding me.
Any business owner, any size, current or prospective. You on the bus right now, sitting here listening to this, if you've got a business idea, you can give us a call. Uh-huh. Call us at our extension. It's just...
that easy.
Yeah, it's like, we have a business support at cityofkingston.ca is our email. Uh-huh. We're always monitoring. We'll get back to you, within 2 business days. And we are here to help anybody. There is no cost associated with this service. It's just intended to help you figure out how to get your business going in the way you want it to go.
So, Mark, is there anything that I haven't touched on that you'd like to add? Maybe a piece of wisdom you'd like to leave our listeners with? Or did you want to expand on the Nardi Pizza Index?
Oh, sure. I'm happy to talk about the Pizza Index. It's basically a 24-point assessment matrix.
We might not have time. I'm looking at our producers. I don't think we might have time to kind of go fully into the Nardi Pizza Index. Maybe we'll go further down the road. But I really want to make sure that our listeners have your contact info. Could you just tell us again how to contact the Business Support Office?
Yeah, of course. Best thing to do is check us out on the City of Kingston website. It's just cityofkingston.ca/business support office. Again, you can call the City of Kingston line and extension 3000 goes straight to my desk, or you can shoot us an email at businesssupport@cityofkingston.ca.
Love it. And these pieces of contact information will also be in the show notes for the podcast. And as always, talking to Mark Nardi, I always learn a lot. So I really appreciate your time today.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate you taking the time.
Well, friends, thank you for joining us. And as you've heard here, if you're looking for the best way to navigate the first steps of your business or the next steps of your business, call the Business Support Office so they can be a part of your business origin story. Take a moment to check out our show notes. We've got links to Mark and the Business Support Office to more information and our contact details. As always, see you next time on Tell Me More.
Remember to subscribe and rate us wherever you get your podcasts. If you have a topic for a future episode, tell us more. Tweet at City of Kingston #TellMeMore or send us an email at tellmemore@cityofkingston.ca. For more on this episode, visit cityofkingston.ca/podcasts. Tell Me More is produced by the City of Kingston's Communications and Customer Experience team.